All right, Kava Social Club. First up, we got Jacob Englander. Woo!
How we doing tonight? Hell yeah, TG motherfucking IF, right? Glad to be here. People ask how it feels to do comedy. I guess everybody's different. For me, I don't really feel nervous. I don't really feel excited. I rarely feel anything. It's called depression. Yeah. My therapist, I was telling them that I felt happy the other day. They said not to worry. It's a side effect probably, all the meds I'm on. Yeah. Therapy's interesting. Like, I don't know, it works for some people for sure. Like Tom Brady's been in therapy for 20 years. He's got about 10 Super Bowl rings. That's pretty cool. I've been in therapy for probably 15 years. I have no Super Bowl rings. So it doesn't work for everybody. I don't know. A lot of therapists are, I'm Jewish. I noticed that a lot of therapists are smart Jews. And as a dumb Jew, I'm starting to resent them for taking a lot of my hard-earned money. Feels like they're punching down on their own kind. It's like, you know in crabs, you got crabs in the bucket, and they kind of pinch onto the other crab so one of them can't run away. It kind of feels like that. It's wild. It's your own people that gets you, honestly. Anyway. Yeah, so speaking of other things that are kind of out there, I love archery. I've shot a compound bow for pretty much my whole life. I'm currently at like a 60-pound draw weight, which is like kind of good. No flex or anything. But you know, it's a cool hobby. I think it's pretty masculine to like, you know, shoot shit with a bow. And then the other day I find out it's a gay app, and I'm like, all right, fuck archery. I hate archery. Yeah, no country for straight men. It's tough. I can't have anything, guys. Yeah, so speaking of things I don't understand, breast reduction surgery is kind of wild to me. Like, you got other options. First of all, you got chiropractors, right? You got, if they're into like anime, you could get them like an exoskeleton or something. If they're into Marvel, you could get them a super suit. But then if you put the shoe on the other foot, like, say dudes had back problems from having big dicks, they would just roll with the punches on that one. They'd just be like, no, that's a good problem right there. I'll just take opiates or something. I'll deal. It'll be fine. I have a huge dick. Nothing matters at that point. It's interesting how that breaks down across the gender line. Speaking of breasts, public breastfeeding is kind of a divisive issue. You know, people are like, should you do it? Should you not do it? I think it's fine, but like, who gets to have breast milk is, I don't know, maybe up for discussion a little bit more. Like, babies are kind of monopolizing all of the titties and all the breast milk when you think about it. Like, I'm sure other people would like a turn. Like, I don't know, we teach kids to share, but I guess babies haven't learned that yet. I don't know. You know, that was a joke. That's not like a town hall idea. I'm not serious. Anyway. So I think I mentioned I'm Jewish. I was thinking about a brigade of Jewish firefighters. They pull up to the scene, like the fire siren is like Hava Nagila or something. And, you know, they start putting out the fire. And then the chief comes out. He's like really angry. His like, you know, his sideburns, his payas are flapping in the wind dramatically. He's like, Mortimer, what the fuck is this? Do you know how expensive this water shit is? That's like, you have to put out a fire with water, obviously. Jews are cheap, you get it. You know, you can point A to point B on that one. Anyway, so there's a Jew on, actually wait, no, I'm mixing up my Jew jokes. So you guys know why there isn't a Jewish Pope? It's because two Jews can't agree on anything. Yeah, so there's a Jew on a desert island. He builds 3 buildings, a hut and 2 synagogues. And a synagogue is like a church, but for Jews. why? And somebody asked him when they rescued him, why'd you build 2 synagogues? And he goes, well, this one is the synagogue that I go to, and this one, I wouldn't be caught dead in there. Just, Jews love to complain about stuff. Yeah, so speaking of shit like that, I had some relatives that were out to eat the other day, and the waiter walks by, and he goes, ladies, is anything all right? Instead of is everything. Is anything all right? Yeah. So they were like, they were complaining about the restaurant. They were like, the portions are too big, and the food is terrible. And it's like, who would want a lot of terrible food? Like, your complaint does not follow. Yeah. I feel like every Jewish holiday, you could summarize it with like, they tried to kill us, we lived, let's eat. Yeah. So speaking of kind of wild shit, do you guys know who came up with the saying, you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet? It's not like a comedian or someone. Stalin said that during World War II about his own countrymen just getting murdered. And like, that's the most movie villain shit I've ever heard in my whole life. Like, I had to Snopes that because I was like, that's too evil to be real. But that is a real quotable. So, I don't know. You can't pretend it's all sex jokes. I've got some depth to me. That was history right there. Yeah. So speaking of Jew jokes and shit like that, my best friend is Catholic, and so we're gonna open up a law firm called Guilt and Shame Incorporated, and we're only gonna represent people who've been molested. So a rabbi is talking to a moil. A moil is somebody who circumcises people professionally. Well, not people, babies, So the rabbi's asking the moil, how much do you make in a year? And the moil goes, I just keep the tips. Yeah, a lot of my family is religious, very religious Jewish, and they're Hasids. I like to say Hasidim, but I don't believe them. Yeah. So they got that holiday Black Friday, which is interesting. It's in November. You'd think that would be in February. But anyhow, what's the next holiday? Like Jew Tuesday? The other thing I was thinking of lately, there are kind of some bizarre expressions out there, like urban myth. What's that supposed to mean? Like he had a knife on him? Is that an urban myth? It's just like stereotypes? I don't know. It sounds like it has a bad connotation to it. Like, is a rural myth about a different group of people than an urban myth? I don't know. English is weird like that sometimes. So I was thinking about if we had a black president before Obama, who it would have been. And I'm very into history, so I think if it would have been anybody, it would have been Andrew Jackson. He's got some real thug energy to him. He got shot in the stomach, and they never took the bullet out. Real 50 Cent energy to him. And he survived his own assassination, and then arrested the guy, beat the shit out of the dude. Just a pimp. He won the largest battle of 1812 after the war had already ended. They were like, it's a ceasefire. He was like, I don't give a shit. He just fucked them up in New Orleans, just beat the British. Anyway, so I was thinking if he was our first black president, he'd probably be named Andre Jackson, maybe. He'd have opened our first chain of steakhouses in America after beating the British, I think. Andre's Steakhouse. Yeah, what do you call a black guy who flies a plane? A pilot, you racist? Jesus Christ. Get your minds out of the gutter. Shit. You people are part of the problem. You guys know that musical Rent? It's it confused me because it's New York City. How did they think they'd never have to pay rent? Everyone has to pay rent there, and it's expensive too. No, I know that's not what Rent's about. So I was walking along the beach the other day, and a quadriplegic lady was crying her eyes out. And I walk over to her because I'm a sympathetic guy, and I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, I've never been hugged before. I'm like, oh, that's terrible. I mean, in my head, I'm thinking it's probably because you don't have arms, but I don't say that. I just give her a hug. And she's still crying, and I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I've never been kissed before. And, she's not bad looking, all things considered. And so I just, I give her a quick peck. And she's still crying. So at this point, I'm like, all right, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to spend my whole day here. What's going on? She's like, I've never been fucked before. So I pick her up, I throw her in the ocean. I go, now you're fucked. Yeah. I'm just playing it. I'm twisted. I'm sipping twisted tea. Yeah, let's see. Oh, the area where my parents live in Lakewood Ranch, there's not like a lot of hot women my age, but there's a lot of like hot older women. And so my next plan is just to be like a kept husband for a smoking hot rich MILF. I'm just gonna move in like directly across the street from my parents. I'll kick out the dad of that house, let him live in the garage or something. It'll be great. I'm pretty pumped for that. I'm gonna like, both my parents will be grabbing the mail one day and they'll see me across the street also getting my mail. They'll be like, what the fuck? I'll be like, howdy neighbor. Oh, that'll be sweet. Oh, the other day I was driving by a place that said dog groomers. And like it just confirmed everything I'd been hearing on the news. Like first they're grooming kids, now they're grooming dogs. Like where does this shit end? It's so sad. So I walk in there and I'm like, what the fuck is this? You guys are fucking groomers or something? They're like, yeah, you have a dog you want us to groom? I'm like, Jesus Christ. It was horrible. I had to get out of there. So sex is interesting. There's a lot of loopholes. Like what's cheating, what's not? What about pants that are so thin you can have sex in them, but you never actually technically making contact with the other person? Is that cheating? I don't know. It's a good loophole, right? No? Okay. What about in a movie you got a sex scene and a horse racer, you know those horse racer narrators, like the dudes who narrate the race or whatever, and they're like, they're gaining speed, they're picking up, And what if they narrated a sex scene? That would be pretty great. They're like, yeah, I'll do one more. Yeah, they're taking off each other's clothes, they're starting to kiss, he's getting his penis on. Just like horse racer voice narrating that whole scene. He's like, they're starting to have sex, he's getting close, she isn't, he finished, she didn't, and that's the sex. I would love a movie with that sort of sex scene. That would rock. All right, that's my time, folks. Thanks. I'm Jacob Englander. Look me up.
God, the first club is good around the block. Jacob Englander.